Let's survive fascism through the Tao. Insights and stories. This evening's lesson is drawn from a good-hearted question found on Reddit. What would the Buddha say to someone living in a country that has fallen into authoritarianism or war? If violence is not an answer, what is? Should I protest non-violently and risk my life or flee for my safety? These are great questions. Let's begin with some broad brush strokes. I'm going to start off with an apology. I am exhausted right now. I am a very disabled fellow, and on top of those disabilities, my disabilities are being exacerbated by severe fatigue right now. And so I apologize. I will be slurring, and my face is going to start sagging. Please don't take that personally. That's just the hand I've been dealt. And I'm doing my best to make the most of it. And now, enough of me. Let's continue with the worthy question. There was an ancient Chinese curse. Perhaps you've heard it. May you live in interesting times. How interesting are these times? Countries around the world have been hijacked by corporatism, fascism, and jingoism. This is very scary, and rightfully so. What would the Buddha advise us? I always bring it back to the Eightfold Path, 50% of which pertains to loving kindness. The great Tibetan Lama Karma Jigme Rinpoche explained that the essence of morality was nonviolence. So 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path could pertain to intentional nonviolence, conversational nonviolence, physical nonviolence, and commercial nonviolence. These are worthy goals. The question is, how do we skillfully act on them that not only protects us from doing harm to our oppressors, but also protects us from harming those around us through inaction or less than skillful action? The seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path is mindfulness and meditation. Let's take a closer look. Going to tap button 5. There is much confusion in contemporary Buddhism, and many teachers advise their students to actively concentrate and actively analyze. Doing so abuses our prefrontal cortex, overworking it, causing our amygdala to light up, the seat of aggression and anxiety. This will not increase our resourcefulness. This will not help us to know what the right thing to do is and how to do it and when to do it. Well, that sucks. What's the solution? Simply this. There's another part of our central nervous system that can help. Let us turn specifically to mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are accessing our sympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us to perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. To perceive sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. To also perceive emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. And to do so, once again, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. Well, this could feel overwhelming, could it not? This brings us to the eighth fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, meditation. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we access the parasympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the lower third as well as the upper third of that same spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. So yes, every 12 hours or so, we could sit for 5 minutes and we can breathe in and we can breathe out. As we breathe in, we can help our brain to cooperate with our sympathetic nervous system by silently and mentally reciting the demonstrative pronoun this. As we exhale, we can help our brain to cooperate with our parasympathetic nervous system by silently and mentally reciting the one-syllable verb ease. Now, here's the payoff. The first payoff is this. This will stop our amygdala from lighting up and instead cause this hunk of meat to light up. And when I say light up, that's a reference to functional magnetic resonance imaging. So this hunk of meat kind of looks like a catcher's mitt. The big kids call it the anterior cingulate gyrus. It functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy and compassion and love. This is why the greatest Dzogchen Lamas have insisted that the highest love is spontaneous and uncontrived. Now let's take it a step further. We've already talked about how 50% of the Eightfold Path relates to loving kindness. We talked about how the seventh fold is about mindfulness. The eighth fold is about meditation. Let's talk about a secondary benefit. The primary benefit is increased empathy. That's splendid. And now the secondary benefit is this. The more we meditate, the more our choices and our utterances and our deeds will flow in the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. So rather than planning out every choice and every utterance and every action, these things can be on autopilot. Now there's two types of autopilot. There is the scattered spontaneity that we might experience after our third espresso, or there is the centered spontaneity that comes from a regular and correct practice of mindfulness and meditation. I'm not going to lie to you. Being enlightened does not mean we stop feeling human emotions. Au contraire, the more you meditate, the more you will be aware and vulnerable, not only to the external world around you, but the internal world, your emotions, intentions, thoughts, and imaginings. But despite that, through the centered spontaneity generated, the centered spontaneity of the effortless effort, which is the sixth fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, which is impelled forward by our mindfulness and meditation, that is how we can be the person our dog already thinks we are. We don't have to be a grand master of chess. We don't have to be as silver-tongued as William Shakespeare. Meditate effectively, and you will be able to surf the present moment. I've never met a master surfer, someone who's been doing it for multiple decades, who honestly thinks they can control the ocean. They don't try to control the ocean. They merely try to dance with the wave that is before them. And they know that their greatest rides don't come from agenda. They don't come from checklists. They don't come from strategies. They come from going with the flow. A healthy meditation practice can help us to practice the spiritual subversion of going with the flow. You could refer to this as the Tao, or the Dharmakaya, or the Holy Spirit, or the flow state. This is how you do it. Every adult is no stranger to impermanence. With the coming and the going of the seasons, we see the impermanence of a month. With the waxing and the waning of a moon, we see the impermanence. Let's try this again. With the coming of the going and the seasons, we see the impermanence of a quarter. With the waxing and the waning of the moon, we see the impermanence of a month. With the rising and the setting of the sun, we see the impermanence of a day. And right now, we can take our fingertips and rest them on our upper chest. As we breathe in, we might feel our chest swell. As we breathe out, we might feel our chest sink. And thus, viscerally, we experience the impermanence of a breath. We could say that impermanence makes of grasping an absurdity. Or we could say, ever-changing, one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. Those who do wish us harm cannot live forever. We and those we love cannot live forever. Life is a study of change, be it subtle or be it jarring, be it external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. Change is the only constant. The secret is not to lie to ourselves about what we feel, but to be vulnerable. And to exercise vulnerability and passivity and spontaneity as the ultimate courage. I do look forward to practicing with you together as a team after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. Boy, I really have a boo-boo face right now, don't I? This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent more than 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism and Taoism and Hinduism and Judaism and Christianity, so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. I think it could be great fun if together as a team we played with the latest iteration of love and the 3 marks of reality. Perhaps I should do it this way. Perhaps there should be love, mindfulness, meditation. And the 3 marks of reality. Now let's see how that fits in on the screen. Let's see if this works okay. Well, cowabunga. Perhaps a more accurate title. Now, fabulous. Oh, won't you please, well, let us bring the mental into the path of love and the 3 marks of existence. Please chant with me as we begin with dukkha. Each of us has experienced the stress of not getting our mental needs met. How we want when we want for as long as we want, if at all. So we're going to take all these syllables and condense them down to just 6, which we shall divide into our inhalation and our exhalation. Let us silently and mentally recite these words. Silently, mentally, and passively. Please join me for additional chanting. Since we are not alone in our frustrations, we could also long that others' mental needs also be met. We turn our attention to anicca and permanence, observing the coming and going of mental phenomena. Help us to see that ever-changing one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. We turn our attention now to anatta. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever mental phenomena we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less like our identity, as if it simply did not define us. And now let us bring whatever we spontaneously notice into the path of awareness and release as we explore during our opening lesson. Together as a team, let us meditate. Whoops, that's the wrong button. Let us bring the interpersonal into the path of love and the three marks of existence. We begin with dukkha stress. Each of us has experienced the stress of not getting our interpersonal needs met. How we want what we want for as long as we want, if at all. So we're going to take all these words and squeeze them into 6 syllables that we're going to divide between our inhalation and our exhalation, that we are going to recite silently, mentally, and passively. We turn now to metta, loving kindness. Since we are not alone in our frustrations, we could also long that others' interpersonal needs also be met. We turn our attention now to anicca, impermanence. Observing the coming and going of interpersonal phenomena, help us to see that ever-changing one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. And at last, anatta. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever interpersonal phenomena we have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less like our identity, as if it simply did not define us. Again, let us bring whatever we spontaneously notice into the path of mindfulness and meditation. Now let us bring the physical into the path of love and the three marks of existence. Let us begin with a bit of the old dukkha stress. Each of us has experienced the stress of not getting our physical needs met. How we want when we want for as long as we want, if at all. And we turn now to metta, loving kindness. Since we are not alone in our frustrations, we could also long that others' physical needs also be met. We turn now to anicca, impermanence. Feeling the coming and going of physical phenomena. Help us to feel that ever-changing one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. And a bit of the old anatta, not self. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever physical phenomena we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less like our identity, as if it simply did not define us. Let us bring whatever we spontaneously notice into the path of sati, awareness, and samadhi, release. Welcome to this evening's live stream. I do apologize that I'm super tired and kind of out of it. However, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, please type your question in great detail in the chat window, and I will be happy to answer your question for you. Let us seal this evening's practice. May all minds clear yet impermanent be as enlightened as a Buddha's mind. May all relationships resounding yet impermanent be as loving as a Buddha's speech. May all bodies sensual yet impermanent be as beautifully healthy as a real or imagined Deva's form. May all circumstances appearing yet impermanent be as safe and abundant as a real or imagined Devi's land. May every meditation teacher truly understand the Buddha's teachings and practice master as well as teach them generously, lovingly, and wisely in the manner of centered spontaneity. May all these meditation teachers spontaneously receive generous patrons, enthusiastic students, as well as devoted apprentices. And may many Dharma centers likewise be successfully planted, nurtured, and supported. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 or so hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's early meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.